Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ review number 286. I am Virtue, being joined by this week's elite panel of the NoDQ review. Of course, Aaron Rift. Walter Cruz is here, Mr. Reliable. Big Baller G, happy to be here. And the West Coast Professor Jeff Meacham. What's going on, everybody? Jeff, I'll start with you since it's been a minute.
Yeah, just first of all, congratulations. By the way, glad you had a good reason to be off the last few weeks. So that was awesome. I'm very, very happy for you, brother. Again, much like Big G, I'm happy to be back 2 weeks in a row on a Sunday. That's a rare thing for me. So I'm excited to talk about what we're going to talk about today. So let's do it.
We're going to zip through this too with you and Walter on the show. I do not want to go past 9 o'clock. We'll see how that works.
We shall see.
Walter, what's up?
Nothing much. Thanks for having me up here. Yeah, I'm ready to get into it. I'll keep the intro short since that's about the only thing we're probably going to be.
Well, and it's on the NoDQ Galaxy and their super chats. They have a lot to do with that too. So we'll see how they behave tonight. Big G, what's up?
I'm doing pretty good. Couldn't make it on Tuesday. I wasn't feeling all that well, but I'm back on the review tonight, and I'm happy to be here as always. And let's get this ball rolling, baby.
Stay tuned. All right, Aaron, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. It's been a bit slow news-wise the past week, but some interesting stories are starting to circulate the internet and a lot of rumors starting to develop. So we'll be talking about that in just a few moments. Now, I do want to give a shout-out to Mr. Tito, NoDQ columnist extraordinaire. Sent in a $2 super chat, says AEW in trouble with under 800K viewers and WBD, which is Warner Brothers Discovery, debt. And he also mentioned how they are $43.2 billion in debt, and they aren't just going to throw money around. Now, it should be noted that if they're losing the NBA, they're going to have some extra money. Do they really want to lose the NBA and AEW? I think they're going to keep AEW, and AEW will survive, and they'll continue to do what they're going to do. But we'll talk more about that as we get closer to whenever that renewal takes place. Could be several months away. No need to really dive too much into it right now. Right now, it's just speculation. Anybody else wanted to chime in on that with an opinion on the TV deal situation?
Well, it was we briefly touched on it last night during open mic night, and I wanted it brought up to just point out that it really was much a talk about nothing until we get later in the year. But it was noteworthy to me that the Max app under Warner Discovery kind of went in on that deal with Disney Plus and Hulu to become this giant streaming bundle. So maybe they're already seeing it right on the wall as far as the money making capabilities of at least that portion of their business, because they're already kind of signing the surrender papers and going with Disney and Hulu instead. So just curious to see how it's going to play out.
And I'm not sure what's going on with Jamie Hayter in response to the comment in the chat room. That is a mystery. No idea what's up with her. She's been gone now for quite a while. Hopefully, we'll find out something, and she'll be back at some point. But Virtue,
she's still hurt, no?
Last I heard, I mean, it hasn't really been made public knowledge as to what's going on with her. I mean, it's been a lot of speculation other than she was hurt, and I really haven't heard much since. But we'll see what happens, and hopefully she is back in the near future. Virtue, let's go ahead and get this ball rolling.
Cody Rhodes is in WWE, and he's headlined WrestleMania twice and is their main champion. CM Punk's over there. Jade Cargill's over there. I think Pillman Jr. is in NXT. And who's not? Like it seems like it's going to be going the other way more often now. And we could throw out names like Ricky Starks, Wardlow. We always have the question mark with MJF. Will Chris Jericho retire in WWE? That's what we're going to talk about with this first topic. Who could be WWE bound from AEW? Who's going to jump off that sinking ship? That's just the way I'm putting it. It might not be sinking. It might be lifeboats, but, they still float. And for, who knows how long. As long as Tony Khan's willing to lose his own money, they'll never go away. Again, they don't have books. They're not publicly traded. We don't know exactly what their bottom line is. the video game fiasco. We know they can make money there, but we're talking about wrestlers that could leave AEW to go to WWE. That's what this topic is. Jeff Meacham, I'm going to start with you. A lot of interesting things with Ricky Starks recently. Aaron posted something earlier today. It's almost like he's trying to make it like, no, I'm still with a lot of uncertainty going on. Seems like if you're buddies with Punk and you kind of are public about that, EVPs don't help your case with Tony Khan much and getting your good angles and on TV. I don't know if Ricky Starks falls under that boat. It sure seems like it. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm not sure Ricky gives a shit at this point, to be honest with you. It seems like to me he's making it pretty clear that he wants to go where the money is and where. Oh, that shot looks like shit when it's done. Anyway, it's seeming like he's wanting to find a way to have himself be checked out of the AEW, the sinking ship, as you called it. It feels that way to me. I don't know if that's the case, but I think he would do very well within WWE. I said that from the beginning when I saw him in Billy Corgan's NWA. I wanted to get him on one of my platforms as far as an interview because I saw a future in him. Wardlow, God, it feels like they've stutter stepped with him so much that I don't know if him jumping to WWE would do him any well at this point unless they immediately strapped a rocket to that big frame of his. But the other one I'm thinking about that we haven't seen on AEW TV in a while, and she keeps putting herself out there on socials, is Britt. Britt Baker, as far as I know, is injury cleared, or at least it's seeming that way, that she's back in the gym, she's working out like crazy. So I think she'd be primed to return, and yet they don't have anything for her, it seems. So if anybody's going to leave, it's those three. And to JJ's point, Starks is almost a given, it feels like, to leave AEW, and I think he'll do well in WWE. I think Britt will do well in WWE if she goes there. Wardlow's a big question mark for me, though. I don't know if he'll do well long term unless they immediately give him the right story or the right framing, I guess that's the way I can put it.
No, and out of all of those, the one that's least likely is MJF, because that's the one you could see Tony Khan writing a blank check to, so he doesn't lose him. And as much as MJF might want to go work with his buddy Cody, see if he can make it on the big stage and get to WrestleMania, the big contract, the for sure AEW contract that Tony Khan's most likely to give him, might keep him there longer. But if he's smart, he'll not only get a good contract, but maybe keep it short so he can make a decision again, in a year or two. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah,
Big G, go ahead. You were done.
I thought I was done, but then you brought up Max, and I didn't think about that. But like Aaron and I said last week, it really comes down to what story is available for him when he comes back as well, because Max needs somebody to play off of. And the whole thing was built with him and Adam Cole, and Adam Cole still has done jack shit since then. And will he feud with the Elite, with the EVPs? Yeah, but is that a long-term thing? I don't think it is. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're good now. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm just passing over to Big G before he falls asleep.
I'm good. I mean, yeah, those are all good names. Ricky Starks, I definitely think would be a good fit in WWE. I mean, we all know he's friends with Cody, and I'm sure Cody could have some kind of, not leeway, like talking him into getting him to WWE. And then who else? Like female-wise, Britt, maybe. I could think, she could jump ship eventually if she feels like she really isn't being utilized very well in AEW. Who else?
Remember when you talked about her all the time?
Yeah.
I mean, it's on TV and then on to the next one.
She's been out for a while, I know she's been doing DDP yoga with Paige, so she's getting back into that wrestling shape. So Wardlow at this point, I really honestly don't care where he goes, because I feel like anywhere he goes, they're gonna stutter step with him. Like Jeff mentioned, like if he goes to WWE, they have to strap that rocket to him and let him just fly and let him do what he needs to do. Because in AEW, it's like start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And this whole Undisputed Kingdom thing, he's Adam Cole's bitch. Let's be for real. You know, he was MJF's bitch before, and now he's Adam Cole's bitch. I could see Hook possibly going. I know there's been some rumblings about Hook might be going to WWE. So I don't know how well he would do in WWE, but I could see Hook. I could see anybody who is unhappy in AEW when their contract is released, they'll go to AEW or to WWE, whether that's their first time in WWE or if they've been there before. Like maybe we'll see Malachi Black back in WWE or Aleister Black or Buddy Matthews, you know. So, well, it all depends. Like I said, it all just depends on when their contract comes up and if they're unhappy in AEW with their TV time.
Now, if you go back in history and you saw how a lot of guys left WWE to go to WCW, and then the Attitude Era started.
Right.
Once the WCW talent, especially the younger talent, Jericho, Eddie, well, you know, the lesser stars at the time, Benoit, Malenko, etc. Once they started going to WWE, what happened at WCW? And it's almost like we're at that potential stage here with AEW. Now, granted, they're going to always keep their wrestlers. There are some like Will Ospreay that obviously went to AEW for whatever reason. You know, rumors. We don't know if it wasn't just going to work out there on both parties. But there's Okada, right? All those people we thought could have landed with WWE didn't. So there's still life there. But it's just funny we're on that part of the trend on the slope where things start to seem going the other way. And there's no Vince McMahon. So wrestlers who left that company because of him, it's a different era with Triple H. They might be more enticed to make that the destination once again. And that's why we're talking about this now, because look at the success. Some of the wrestlers that have went over there, I mean, even already Jade Cargill, just look, WWE will treat people well if they can make money on them. What do you think, Walter?
Yeah, in terms of Wardlow, people like Wardlow and like Powerhouse Hobbs, the issue with them is that the person who like drooled over bodies like that is no longer there. You just mentioned Vince isn't there. He's the one who like loved people with bodies like that and would go gaga. Anybody who looked superhuman and Hulk built, he went crazy over. But I feel like WWE isn't like that no more. Although I do feel like either one of them could go over there and do well, but because like Wardlow, they would have to go through NXT though, because they wouldn't be ready main roster. But even though I would love to see Wardlow versus Braun Breaker, because I just feel like that would be like a crazy match, or even Powerhouse Hobbs being maybe with the Bobby Lashley's group or something like that, or a singles push, because I think actually AEW like made him in groups too damn much, and he needs to establish himself by himself now. So Britt, you guys mentioned if we think MJF would. I honestly think the armored truck is already at MJF's driveway. I don't think he's leaving. I think that armored truck is there, and all the money bags with the are already in his house in the garage. So I don't think anytime soon he's leaving that company. Like I'm sorry to say, even though I would love to say it, but I mean love to see it. I think he's already signed that contract. It just hasn't been able to make it into like a story yet because of his injury. Like when he comes back, maybe they'll do a story out of it, but we'll see. But yeah, Britt, in terms of the females, I could see Britt, and maybe after Mercedes destroys Willow and makes her look so bad, maybe she'll get unhappy.
Yeah, give it. We'll do this discussion a year from now. And her name is going to be in that jumping back to W. She's kind of already said it in an interview. Yeah. Like it's almost like this is just a stop for her.
That's what it feels like. So either her or Willow Nightingale herself, because like she's a powerhouse that could be with Piper Niven or Nia Jax. Like you can see opponents that are be ready for her in WWE. It all, like Big G said, it kind of depends on, I don't know the status of people's contracts or how you get out of them or how long they're signed for. So it all depends on, but for all the people that are younger the better, because they can fulfill the 4 or 5 year contract and still be young enough that WWE will want them at the end of the contract. And then you mentioned Jericho. I think he's gonna not wrestle, but just go back to WWE just to get that pop and then retire and be in the Hall of Fame. Like do that last little, like he's got to, like he absolutely has to.
We'll see, and I hope so, because that's the last I want to remember. I want to remember that Jericho, even if he doesn't really wrestle, maybe one match. That's the one I want to remember. All right, Aaron, over to you and the super chats.
It's been quite the change from 2019. Back then, people were talking about how the grass was greener on the other side, leaving WWE for AEW, and we saw Jon Moxley jump, we saw Chris Jericho jump, and various others. AEW seemed like the place to be. Bryan Danielson let his WWE contract run out. Same thing with Adam Cole, and they jumped. But now we're talking about people potentially going back to WWE. We saw it with Andrade, and we all speculated on Andrade that he was going to go back to WWE as soon as he had the opportunity, and that's exactly what happened. And we talked about names like Aleister Black, Malachi Black. His wife is in WWE, Zelina Vega. Same thing with Buddy Matthews. As far as guys that haven't really had like a full-blown run in WWE yet, Ricky Starks is the obvious name that we have been speculating on. And the interview he did this week, a lot of interesting stuff he said in that interview. I think anybody who is tight with Cody Rhodes is probably going to end up in WWE, and that includes Ricky Starks.
AF as well.
MJF is very tight with Cody Rhodes. You know Cody behind the scenes will push for these guys. Ricky Starks, he's a good talker, and I feel like he's washed in AEW. And there was a comment here. There was actually a super chat, so let me get to that. Tiger sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. It says, we blame Tony Khan, but these bums have creative freedom. Well, here's the thing, to use Jeff Meacham's line, they can only go out there and do something creative when they're booked for television. If Tony Khan doesn't book them to be on the show, they can't do anything. They're on the bench. And Ricky Starks has outright said he's not injured. He wants to be involved. And they haven't used him. And there's all these other guys like Miro. Miro's another one in that category with Malachi Black, former WWE superstars that were cut. They did not leave on their own. They were actually fired when Vince was still in charge. Guys that Triple H brought in and he was tight with, I would expect those guys to be back. Miro's another guy who has been on TV. He's off TV. Is he injured? Is he not injured? And it was the same thing with Andrade. Miro's another guy that I can see going back to WWE. These guys are benched, and that's what happens when you bloat the roster. It's happened in WWE, and it has definitely happened in AEW, where these guys are lost in the shuffle, and there's only so many people Tony Khan can put on the show. He signed too many people. WWE released a bunch of wrestlers, and Tony Khan went against what the original thought process was. If you go back, I think Chris Jericho said it in 2019 that they were not going to sign a lot of former WWE stars. They were going to focus on their own homegrown talent, and they ended up not sticking to that. They ended up signing way too many people, and a lot of wrestlers have been benched. Keith Lee is another guy, and he's apparently been hurt. He's been on and off television. He's another guy that I can see going back to WWE. Like that whole deal with him appearing at the Hall of Fame was very suspicious to me. Like it was a so-called accident. I don't know about that. I don't know if I buy that, but he's another guy that I could see going back to WWE. Any guy that was tight with Triple H and got pushed strongly in NXT, any of those guys I can see being brought back. And excuse me, it was euros, not dollars. So my apologies for that. Any guy that was tight with Triple H or any guy that has been tight with Cody Rhodes, I could see going back to WWE or getting a first-time opportunity in WWE, besides the cameo appearance. I think Ricky Starks was beat up by Ryback as an extra on Raw, or MJF was a security guard who got shoved into the wall by Samoa Joe. Guys that have never gotten like a full-blown opportunity with WWE. With Cody Rhodes there, he'll vouch for them. And Ricky Starks. We haven't mentioned Wardlow. I think Wardlow's a good talker, good in the ring. I think he's washed in AEW. I think they ruined him as far as him having any real credibility. So WWE would be a fresh start for him. And I don't know if he'll end up becoming a big star, but he'll at least have a second chance there. And I think he'll get that opportunity if he leaves AEW. So next year or two could be very interesting as far as seeing some people leave AEW and go to WWE. And of course, you might see some former WWE guys show up in AEW, although at least at this point, Tony Khan hasn't gone crazy with the recent cuts like Matt Riddle and Dolph Ziggler. He hasn't brought in those guys yet. So I'll give him credit. He's had a little bit of discipline, but we'll see how long that lasts.
All right, we ready to move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
Fair enough. All right, this topic we've talked about before, but it was different time because we had Roman Reigns there as the leader of the bloodline, as the champion. We had The Rock. They're gone right now for the foreseeable future. So what does everybody here on the panel, and of course in the chat, feel the best thing in wrestling is right now? You could say a particular talent, a feud, a series of matches if you're AEW fan, but we always have to bring this up every few months because it changes. And right now, even though I'm anticipating great things, I can't say the bloodline because I know they're trying to build up the newer guys, the heels, but it's just not the same when the stars aren't there. So, Big G, I'm going to start with you on this one. What's your favorite thing in wrestling right now? You thinking about it? That's not good. Like normally we would just blurt it out.
You'd have the finger snap,
That's
but
okay.
he's got to unmute himself first.
You want me to come back to you? You got it.
I'm good. Okay. So I can't. I'm so used to muting on Jeff's show, so I'm trying to do it over here. No, honestly, you mentioned the bloodline, and I kind of was giving up on the bloodline after WrestleMania, but now that Tama and Tonga are in it, and Solo is kind of like quote unquote the head of the table, and I'm loving Paul Heyman's his emotions with this whole thing. And like at Backlash, when he and Jay passed by, he kind of like gave him that look like, we need you to come back. There's controversy in the bloodline, and I kind of feel like hopefully this will lead to Roman coming back and Jay and Jimmy, teaming up and having like a Survivor Series thing, bloodline versus bloodline. I'm loving Drew versus CM Punk right now. I think that's like one of the hottest feuds in WWE, and they haven't even touched yet.
Yep,
they're both killing it on the mic.
Hey, I'm gonna make it simple, Big G. That's my favorite thing right now. We'll save time. I won't even have to elaborate on it.
Yeah, and as far as like AEW, I don't know. Nothing's really intrigued me in AEW. And that's hard for me that's really hard for me to say. I mean, like, I barely watch Collision. I barely watch Rampage. I didn't even watch Dynamite last week.
MJF is hurt.
Yeah.
And I watched the pay-per-views, and like that's the only thing that's doing it for me are the pay-per-views. So, and the only way I'm doing the pay-per-views is me and my buddies were splitting it 3 ways because no way in hell am I paying $50 for a pay-per-view for AEW.
But hey, in order to watch all the WWE events, what do you pay each month? $6 to $10, depending on your plan.
Yeah,
How about that?
Yeah.
What a deal.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Big G, there you go. You still have something. So you're kind of hanging on the bloodline there. Okay. I mean, that's I'm not feeling it yet. I'm anticipating, but I'm not feeling it right now, but maybe things will change. But like I said, Punk and Drew, hands down, because they can do this thing and make people want to see them wrestle at a later date. That's what wrestling's all about. Walter, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned Punk and Drew. My favorite thing about them is like the trolling offline that Drew is doing, like with the Twitter.
There you go.
What Drew is doing is hilarious. But to be different, I'm kind of waiting for the Queen of the Ring to be over because it's Jade for me. I want to see what they do with Jade and Bianca, and are they really going to take this serious this time? I know Aaron and we say it every time somebody wins the tag titles, Aaron. It's like a running gag with us. We go, maybe the titles will mean something this time, maybe, and then they go right back to the same BS that they do. But I want to really see if they make these two powerhouses actually make the titles mean something and defend it all the time. So I just feel like they can't do it right now because the Queen of the Ring is going on right now. So they have to wait for that to be over. Then they can clear it, and then we can see how far Jade and Bianca take it. But I really want to see Jade more and more and see how far she goes, just to prove the haters and everybody that was saying she can't wrestle and everything they did and why is WWE taking so much time. I just want to, I just waiting so I can throw it right back in their face about they need the patience to see what Jade did. I'm just waiting for that.
And well, like I'm going to have some points to make. It all depends on what Jeff and Aaron are going to say here. But this is like, so you're Jade Cargill. So this is really interesting so far. Jeff, you might shake my opinion up. Not my opinion, but what I want to say later up. But go ahead, it's your turn.
Right. Well, definitely Punk and Drew is one of my favorite things right now. They're just so entertaining, doing so little, right? And Drew, is now working hurt as well. So we'll see how they progress with that. My favorite thing right now is actually the way they're booking the tournament matches for the King and Queen of the Ring, because I have a genuine interest in who ends up winning those crowns now. Despite the late night I'm going to have Friday, I'm looking forward to getting up early Saturday morning and covering that show on our watch along, because I'm curious where they go with whoever becomes King and Queen. Are they going to be number one contender? Are they going to be, going after the championships? I'm interested in that. I'm also actually excited for, this is completely biased on my part, but, a couple of buddies of ours, Frankie Kazarian and Nick Nemeth getting a renewed opportunity in wrestling within TNA, and I guess Ryan Nemeth's over there now with his brothers. So it's cool to see people that I've been acquainted with, get a different opportunity than just being another part of a very bloated roster like we talked about earlier. Now AEW's got so many people there, but the people that are in TNA really seem like they genuinely want to be there, and they're having a good time being there while they're working. So I think that's cool. But other than those two, I every year with Aaron, I call it the post WrestleMania doldrums, because it just like, ugh, like it's a chore to get home every night and like, okay, what the hell are they gonna do now? Like going into WrestleMania, it's like, oh, I can't wait. Coming out of it, it's just like, here we go.
So
and I've been doing that our entire friendship.
King and Queen of the Ring. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't like. Okay, I mean, everybody's kind of some. I mean, the Punk and Drew stuff was overlapping, but we got a bunch of different answers here.
Yeah.
Okay, Aaron, go ahead.
All right, my favorite thing in wrestling right now would have to be the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho.
I know you're trolling.
Okay, thank you. I was waiting to see somebody call me out on that.
Like, but like back in WWE when he would be different in like the Festival of Friendship and the list, but now we just can't buy into it. Isn't that crazy? That's just crazy. But okay, that was a good one.
I give him credit for trying something different. He's always looking to reinvent himself. I'm just not feeling this gimmick. Bottom line. But seriously, though, I mean, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Drew McIntyre has been fantastic as a heel. He's been highly entertaining, and I think he's doing some of the best work of his entire career. And that's the match I'm looking forward to the most at this point. I am looking forward to Roman Reigns coming back and facing Solo's bloodline, but it definitely needs some more heat, and we need something with Jey Uso getting involved with Solo's group. And I think that's really the key at this point. They got to get the ball rolling with that, have Jey Uso interacting and bring back Jimmy Uso. So it's the Usos versus Solo's bloodline. And then that builds up Roman Reigns coming back. Jeff?
Is SummerSlam too close for that, or is WrestleMania too far for that?
I would say that they need to get the Usos feuding with the bloodline before SummerSlam, because SummerSlam, we talked about this last week, should either be when Roman Reigns returns or he returns before that and has a match at SummerSlam. So Roman needs to be back in time for SummerSlam. Thus, I think they really need to get the ball rolling with the Usos versus Solo's bloodline now and, get it going.
So maybe they really get it rolling before SummerSlam. Roman's return escalates and they do the payoff at Survivor Series.
War Games, yep. Do
War Games, there you go.
Do the Bloodline War Games. We talked about it last week. If you guys missed it, we had a great discussion.
We did.
On last week's review. Some of you may have missed it. If you did, go check it out now, or not now, but after you're done watching this. Watch the last episode of the NoDQ review, 285. We had a very, very interesting discussion about Roman Reigns and where they're going to be going with that. I am enjoying the Bloodline storyline, but right now it is not my favorite thing about WWE television. That would be
Aaron, I don't hate it because I'm, my brain and the potential anticipation of what could happen. I'm just not like, it's not like, oh, I got to tune in and at the split second it happens. I can catch it later, start DVRing and watching SmackDown late or what, you know what I mean? It's not like I have to watch it the exact second it happens, which was what I did before. That's a big difference.
Yes. Right now, May 2024, I think Drew McIntyre is the best part of WWE television.
Okay. Now, what's interesting is, and I didn't expect anybody to say this, but with no Roman there, nobody mentioned this hot angle in AEW of the Young Bucks and Okada and Jack Perry and Tony Khan getting beat up and what's going to happen there. No surprise, but I just wanted to point that out. And as I'm checking the chat, too, nobody said Cody Rhodes. The man who finished his story, the chase is gone, and it's just like, now who do you defend against? That's intriguing. And the whole Jake Paul stuff might be a good match. These are good matches he's having, but it's just like the care level of Cody now that he's there. Nobody here on the panel said him, not even one. And we have a good diverse group of people here, and I don't really see anybody in the chat saying it. I just had to point that out. I'm not knocking Cody. I think down the road, way down the road, when he turns heel, his natural position, it'll be great. I'll be loving it when everybody's hating Cody again. I'll be right there loving my heel Cody because I like heels. But it just, nobody said Cody. And in a way, I want to feel bad for him. I mean, it's not Drew McIntyre pandemic feeling bad, but man, just crazy. And if somebody said him in the chat, I missed it because I did not see many Codys. I thought for sure it was going to light up. So I don't know if anybody wants to comment on that.
But it's just unfortunate, he's very much got that post Hogan babyface syndrome. We'd rather watch him chase than watch him defend. It's the story was the chase.
And it's like now that he's champion, I know he's the babyface, and he had a really good pop on SmackDown, whatever it was. Like the fans were eating it up, and being, how it is with live fans, though they get into the show, especially when there's an arena full of them, and WWE's been doing that really well. It's just almost like now that Cody's the champion, and how he loves to look dapper, come out in the suits, talk with the bigger work. He just feels natural heel to me, but I know he's a babyface, and it's just I don't know. So poor Cody, but I mean he's still the top guy in wrestling, so I'm not like. It's not like, oh, poor Cody. It's just nobody said he's the favorite thing in wrestling right now.
I think it's because everybody's waiting for
it's like Sami Zayn died out after the bloodline angle. It's kind of like that. Once you're done with the bloodline, you're just there.
No, but again, going back to the whole story was about, his father not being champion. Dusty was always better for me. I mean, I wasn't a fan when Dusty was Dusty Prime, but going back, even binge watching on network or later, the story for me was always Dusty chasing Flair. And then he won it. It's like, oh, great, he got it, and then he lost it again. So it's okay, cool. We can watch him chase again. It was the same thing. It was the exact same thing, and it's much the same vein of the way they booked that back then, as opposed to the way the WWF booked it. I was never interested in Hogan doing anything else except contending for or being the champion.
So
Jeff, anything else, it was like, meh.
That topic and bringing up Cody in that instance is my segue. Aaron, are we caught up?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add in regards to Cody, part of the problem too is like nobody that he's facing right now is any real threat. Like we're all waiting for either Roman Reigns to challenge him again, or Brock Lesnar to come back and face him, or Gunther to face him at the Bash at Berlin Premium Live event. We mentioned this last week in previous weeks that WWE really should have been building up some people for Cody post WrestleMania. Logan Paul, it's going to be a good match, but it's a filler match for Cody to kill time until SummerSlam. Walter?
Exactly.
You know what they could do to drum up some interest in him right now is since The Rock and nobody's available, bring Cena back and bring that story that, hey, I want to break Ric Flair's record. And bring that, the fire that would cause between, even though they're both faces, all of us would talk about it, and that would really be interesting if Cody has to defend against Cena for Cena to break Ric Flair's record.
Yeah, and again, Logan Paul is a star, but everybody knows that Logan Paul is not winning that title, especially now that the United States title is not on the line. Not that I think that title for title was a good idea, but that would have at least made it maybe slightly more unpredictable if any more bit of unpredictability. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm just waiting for SummerSlam and waiting for the next big challenger for Cody.
And I know we're in that WrestleMania stagnant period and the filler period and the slow season, but this is the main topic I want to talk about is Cody Rhodes cutting it as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. I just remember when he won the Royal Rumble and he was going for his, second attempt at Roman Reigns. It's like, okay, the story is going to get finished. Then The Rock interjected. And I don't care about what Cody's facial features were supposed, all that rumor and crap. I think it still played out like it was supposed to play out. They might have made some tweaks along the way because they really did want to push for Rock and Roman, but it got delayed and we got what we got. But I don't even see, like before when this was happening and the Cody Crybabies were vocal online, the Dave LaGreca's podcasts, who I don't even follow, were popping up. Anything he had to say about Cody was popping up in my feed and Twitter, my YouTube. I don't see anything Cody popping up. I'm not saying he's not talking about him, but I'm not seeing anything from Busted Open. All those supporters that were there for the chase to finish the story, the algorithm doesn't like you, at least on my phone and computer. So I'm questioning it. Is he cutting it as WWE champion? Is a lack of top challengers that actually could be a threat? The WrestleMania stagnant season, but I'm looking at these observations. I'm not just trying to troll Cody fans. These are serious things that make me want to talk about this. Jeff, I'll start with you on this one.
Yeah. Again, I think the biggest thing is the post WrestleMania lull. The like I said, the sullens after WrestleMania. It always seems like the entire industry seems like it slows down after WrestleMania. I was talking this with my dad on the way back here, about a week or so ago, I guess it was. I'm just not rushing or itching to get home because it's like, okay, if I miss it, whatever, I'll pull a Noah Foster and watch the highlights later, make sure I catch what's important. That way I have information for the pay-per-views. But is Cody cutting it? I think he's as effective a WWE champion as has been in the past after WrestleMania. It's somebody in one of the comments mentioned, John Cena not having a built-in ready-to-go star to make it seem like a credible challenger. Roman cutting that promo, John cutting that promo on Roman that's why I'm still here, because you're not doing your job. And at that point, Roman wasn't. The reason that Roman was champion, or one of the reasons he was champion for so long, besides the fact that, the company was making the most money they ever made with him on top, is there wasn't anybody that really seemed like they could carry that ball. Cody's now carrying it, but he's not carrying it alone like Roman did for almost 4 years. You've got Cody as champion. You've got the Judgment Day with their world champion on Raw. You've got the secondary titles meaning something as well. It's not just a one-man show like Cena almost was forced into for a decade. So is he cutting it? Yes. But he's not having to cut it the same way other champions have had to cut it. And I think that's why he is cutting it. He's doing great in the position he's able to be in as WWE champion.
And again, we can blame it on the post-WrestleMania season, but
sure,
the ratings are down a bit, but there's no Rock. There's no Roman. There's no WrestleMania buzz, story, finishing the story buzz. But people are like, well, what do you gauge it on? Ticket sales? I mean, I'm sure they're still doing well. They're WWE. They sell their brand, but I bet you their numbers post WrestleMania, ratings, ticket sales, everything, merch, still really, really good, but probably down some. And again, that's not necessarily Cody's fault, but the big indicator to me is the social media. I just don't see Cody all over my social media where I don't actively look for it. It just pops up in my face. That's kind of gone right now. And
I agree.
And maybe, I mean, Cody's doing a damn good job. I mean, look at that pop that he got when he beat Roman Reigns. It's just sad. It's sad to see those fans, like I anticipated, take a step back because now, well, what do we talk about? There's no threat. We'll just wait it out. We'll just kind of sit here quietly. And then when Roman or Rock come back and he's threatened, then we'll speak up for Cody again. Come on, people. Like, Cody's this hot thing. Keep it that way. Like, don't stall the momentum. I mean, look at that French crowd for a pay-per-view that was a throwaway pay-per-view. They were excited because they don't get that often over there. And look at that crowd reaction, that whole show. It's a couple people didn't like it in terms of old school, like, oh, that's not a true crowd reaction. But nonetheless, that was exciting. People were watching every part of that show to see what the crowd would do. So it made those matches that really, we kind of knew the outcomes of them, a little more exciting at least. And that's that excitement level I'm talking about. Fans, if they really wanted to keep it going, they would be behind Cody, and I'd still see him. I'd be talking a different topic right now. I'd be saying, man, Cody's all over my social media. I don't even follow people that like him, but I'm seeing their tweets. I can't say that right now.
That's definitely part of it. And, and the whole post WrestleMania thing, like I said, is industry wide. For folks that are sports fans, baseball season picks up, really gets cooking right after WrestleMania. The NFL schedule got released. All right. A lot of people are talking about that. Hockey and basketball are in playoffs. So, the WNBA story with Caitlin Clark, people are talking about that. So there's more to be chatter about on social media in the sports and entertainment worlds than just wrestling. Between Survivor and Mania, it seems like the chatter picks up. Then once WrestleMania hits, it's kind of like, meh.
That is true, Jeff, and there are overlap fans like you and I. But I'm going to say this: a high percentage of wrestling fans only care about wrestling.
That's very valid.
If you like the other stuff like we do, Aaron, they don't talk like he doesn't. But if they do like stuff, they don't talk about it. It's only wrestling. So very few like this time of year in sports, Jeff, and are vocal about it. But I don't think most wrestling fans do it. They want wrestling, but.
Very true. Very true.
I get it. Okay, Walter, I'll come over to you here.
You know what the ironic thing about all of this is? Had he not finished it and he lost, he would have been all over social media. Everybody would have been on fire. It would have been more of a story had he not finished the story. That's what the ironic thing about all this is. If he lost, it would have been uproar and it would have been crazy. And what the hell it almost would have been. I don't want to say better, but we wouldn't have been talking about this right now.
Walter, you know what?
He lost. Yeah.
You know what they're hanging their hat on? Seriously, and this is going to piss me off as we get closer. And we kind of talked about this a little bit on last Tuesday's review. This dirt sheet, Cody fan, it's going to be Rock and Cody headlining WrestleMania. Like Roman is pushed to the side and is going to have a secondary match next year because they know it's that or nothing for them, and they have nothing left for Cody. And it's like, oh, come on, seriously, you're just gonna dismiss. They don't want Rock and Roman. We had a nice little debate about that with Mike and I last week.
Yeah,
Tuesday. But it's almost like they're just dismissing Rock and Roman until they see it happen because it's Cody and Rock. That's why I wish it would happen earlier. I really wish Rock would come back and have that match at SummerSlam with Cody, but I don't know. It's just
me too. But in terms of cutting it, he's the businessman. He's the face. He's got the suits. He's got the music, so he can represent WWE on talk shows and things. So he's cutting it in terms of that. It's just that we already know what the future holds. It's got to be that whole either fighting with the Rock and the Roman, and through no fault of his own, we all talked about it. It is the chase. It's a weird comparison, but it's almost like Tom and Jerry or the Roadrunner and Coyote. The whole fun part is the whole chase. If Coyote caught Roadrunner or Tom caught Jerry, what the hell then? It wouldn't be the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just over. That's it. So it's like that. It's no fault of his own, but it's just the inevitable thing that it's because he caught the prize, and it's like, all right, now what do we do? And fans have such a low attention span. It's like, what's the next thing we got to jump on? We got the Cody story going, and we jumped all over it. We got him the title. Now what's the next thing? It's like they don't stand behind it. They just get their results and then jump on to the next thing. They have to.
Yeah, and like Walter, my point is, it's like we have to wait for Roman or Rock to come back for Cody to get back up to that super uber attention, like the utopia of all over the place. Come on, like if you really behind Cody, you'd make him that way. Like I made Roman that way, even when Roman was off TV for his little 6-week hiatuses. But I'm not. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure some people are, but it clearly ain't working on the algorithm on my social media platform because I don't see it. I got to fish for it.
Right. That's why I said you might have to do the Cena thing because at least in the back of your mind, Cena won't win, but in the back of your mind, you'll be like, he might do it. They might break the record. Like, it's actually credible. And if he did do it, none of us would be. We'd be shocked that they went with it, but we wouldn't be surprised that Cena beat him. Like,
but if they did do that, you could at least create those moments during that match, like the false finishes, like, oh wow, you know what I mean? Just giving the people that just a little bit of doubt that Cena could do it. But you good, Walter?
Yeah.
Okay. Big G takes a sip.
It looks like Jeff wants to say something.
And he's unmuting.
Well, I was going to say.
Go ahead,
he always wants to say something.
Well, that's what I do. Do you think it would have been the same feeling with Cody if they had pulled the trigger a year ago here in LA?
Well, I would have rather had it happen at SummerSlam because I was all about the marketing of 1,000 days. But
valid. Okay.
I mean, at that point, it was to finish the story, but because he didn't fail yet. Once he lost at WrestleMania 39, then the finish the story really because he got in that program with Brock Lesnar, which was another good reason why he didn't finish it at 39 because Cody and Lesnar fought all summer, right?
Yes.
And Reigns still came back and had his thing. Now you had both of them.
Okay. Okay. Just curious.
Yes. So Cody cutting it as champion. I mean, everybody.
You got a Cody shirt? You got a Cody shirt?
I have a couple of Cody shirts, and I have my pink bathrobe that I got from WrestleMania. I'm a Cody mark, damn it. But yeah, like Cody finishing the story and the whole Busted Open and stuff like that, that was all over my feed because I follow Busted Open, I follow La Greca and all them. So, and I mean, Cody's doing good as champion in my mind right now. I mean, he's only had 2 title defenses, or no. Yeah, 2 or 1. I don't. My head's all over the place right now.
He's going to have another one with Logan.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, this is his second title defense coming against Logan Paul next weekend. All right. I mean, it is all about the chase. Like I was watching WWE Rivals last week, and they were talking about Dusty and Flair and how Dusty literally chased the title for 5 years until he finally beat Ric Flair for the title. And, it was it was a 2-year chase for Cody pretty much. And once, he won the title at Mania, it's like, well, what's next for him? And I mean, he's, like I said, he's doing okay for now. We can't really compare his title reign to Roman's because Roman's was almost 4 years long and Cody is just in the beginning stage. And everybody's going to be different. They're going to be different booking wise. And yeah, we're going to be waiting for Cody versus Rock. And I'm sure we'll get another rematch between Cody and versus Roman for the title down the line when Roman decides to come back. But I mean, I think it's just too hard to tell right now. I would give it a couple more months and then go back on it and say, all right, well, it's been this long, and who's he defending against? And I think him and Logan Paul are going to tear it down on Saturday, to be honest.
But who's going to who's going to be the champion at the end of that match?
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. That stinks.
I mean, it sucks that it's predictable because it's like Cody Rhodes, but it was kind of the same thing with Roman Reigns.
But with Roman, you wanted to see how bigger is the bloodline going to get, and who's going to get thrown at him next. There was at least that.
But if you think about it, for baby faces, everybody knows that the chase is the thing, and then when they finally get to the title, they're like, well, like you said, like we've all said, and I just said, what's next? So
Yeah. Okay. Well, fair enough. Aaron?
All right. So I would say that he's doing well. I do not think that Cody's run has been a failure in any regard. I think that the WrestleMania 40 title change was the right time. It was great. It was one of the best things WWE has ever produced. And I think, as Big G said, we have to see how his title run plays out. Right now, it is a down period before SummerSlam, and Cody doesn't have any strong opponents right now. It is what it is. But I say he is cutting it as champion. WWE business continues to do well. Despite what Mr. Tito said, WWE attendance is strong year over year. The numbers are up from previous visits to cities. WWE attendance is doing well. I believe Backlash actually had a decline in viewership. And if you noticed, there was no press release that Backlash broke the record for the most watched Backlash
But Aaron,
of all
that's
time.
the time being overseas. That probably kept that from being a possibility.
Absolutely, and that's something to consider. And King and Queen of the Ring will do good. WWE will be fine. Business will be fine. It just doesn't have any significant story for Cody right now. The company just doesn't have anything going with him other than, well, he's got AJ Styles challenging him, he's got Logan Paul challenging him, and it'll get hot once we get to the summer and you have a significant challenger for Cody. It's kind of like WrestleMania when John Cena beat or lost to The Miz, I should say. The Rock was there, and then they set up the match for the next WrestleMania, and you just want to see that match. So in the meantime, you're stuck with John Cena versus R-Truth. Not too exciting, right? But then CM Punk did the pipe bomb. That's what we need with Cody. We need a hot challenger for Cody. Somebody like a CM Punk or somebody at that level that can just turn things upside down. And like you said, Virtue, give us the buzz on social media, and the buzz where people are like telling their friends, hey, did you see what happened on SmackDown with Cody Rhodes? I can't believe that just happened. Holy crap. Like, we need that. Or even, when Nexus attacked John Cena and that got everybody talking, we need an angle like that with Cody, where people are like, holy shit, I can't believe that happened to Cody Rhodes. That's what we need right now. Like, just to spice things up. And it'll probably happen. They're saving whatever they got there. They're saving their big guns for SummerSlam. So it's just the usual time in WWE where we got a couple filler pay-per-views, and Cody will be fine. Crowd has not turned against him. He's still getting the big reactions. I think he'll do well, and he's gonna have a strong title run. I don't have a problem with him being champion for a long time. I know everybody's bringing up the chase. It's just he needs stronger opponents.
And again, those arena pops. Jay Uso gets an arena pop, and
oh my god, yeah,
those fans like being there. So I don't really.
Jay Uso's great. Jay
I'm just saying though, Cody, like, that doesn't surprise me that they're getting arena pops, because those fans love their top baby faces when they're in the arena. I'm not going to say Cody Rhodes is failing. I'll say he's kind of status quo. He's doing what he can based on the situation of everything he came off of and what he had to do carrying the ship during this slow time while we build the SummerSlam. Really, I brought this up as the main event topic because I call out the fan. You know how I'm always calling out the Cody fans. If you're that passionate heading into WrestleMania to where you felt like you got your way and you made WWE change, pivot, whatever you want, I'm calling you out, at least on my. Why isn't it popping up? Why don't I see more Cody love? Why aren't you hyping this Logan Paul match is going to be great? I just don't see it. I'm challenging the Cody crybabies to pick this up once again and not wait for Rock to come back, not wait for Roman to come back, but make this. I mean, I'm not saying you have to, be worried about Logan Paul beating him, because that's not going to happen, but just show that enthusiasm. Make me wonder why I wanted Rock and Roman so much in spite of you. So really, I'm challenging those diehard Cody fans to come out of the woodwork. If you're truly diehard fans, don't wait for the fair weather. Push him to the moon all over social media. Annoy me, on my Twitter or X.com. Make me see these videos. Make Dave LaGreca talk about it more. That's really what it is. I'm blaming the fans, Aaron, like I usually do.
Well,
anybody else want to add to that?
Well, speaking of LaGreca, he's supposed to be interviewing Cody on Busted Open tomorrow at 10 a.m. So
okay, well, let's see if it gets put all over social media like it should, or it's not. We got to go fishing for it. Or you got to follow. See, I follow Busted Open, but I don't follow LaGreca, and all of LaGreca's stuff. Not necessarily a retweet from Busted Open, but his stuff was just popping up left and right on my feed heading into that Cody Crybaby stuff. So. It's all the fans, man. They got to make it happen.
Yeah.
Help out. Like look what the French crowd did for Backlash.
Mm-hmm.
Make it more interesting during these times of blah feuds and blah matches, right? You can do it. Pick up traffic for NoDQ.com. That's the challenge. All right. Anybody have any last words before we do our plugs? Walter.
The buzz might get better once a Money in the Bank winner is established, because that's the other problem. Like, when you have champions and there's nobody with the briefcase, you don't have that sneaky thing in the back like, hey, somebody can cash in. It's like that. Even though we kept saying when they're going to cash in, that creates a buzz within itself. So maybe that'll change once somebody has that
have an LA Knight win it or something like that.
Yeah, because somebody could just cash in on Cody at any time. So
when is Money in the Bank? June or July?
July 6th, I think.
July
6th. Yep.
We got a super chat here from Dwayne Atkinson. He sent in $5. Thank you, Dwayne. He says, if Cody did turn heel, would that make Jey Uso the top face of the company? I guess by default, but Cody's not turning. I really don't think that's happening.
Down the road, he'll probably do it, but like not anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, Cody does have people to go through. We mentioned The Rock, Roman Reigns, possible rematch. Possible Gunther match at some point. I know Gunther's on Raw, but that could always change. I think Cody's going to be a baby face for the foreseeable future. But if he did turn heel, then Jey would be right up there as one of the top baby faces in the company. Period. Besides Roman Reigns, of course.
Yep.
And Tiger sent in a €2 super chat. Thank you, Tiger. Says heel LA Knight versus Cody.
Had to be the right story. Like it would feel like LA Knight would be like forcing the heel stuff. Like, I mean, he's already a cocky ass, so that's fine. But like, what's the motivation? Like, why now? Like, other than the championship, which is an obvious, it's almost like easy. Like, it's just like lazy.
Yeah.
Like, why?
LA Knight's at that point. It's like MJF where he's like our bastard, like whatever. So it's almost like even if it's a heel,
right?
Yeah. And keep in mind, you got Randy Orton too as another possibility. But I think LA Knight. I mean, they already teased it on SmackDown. LA Knight versus Logan Paul. I think that's going to be the SummerSlam match. So I do not see LA Knight going heel anytime soon either. And then This Guy Experience said, name 5 possible opponents for Cody and 5 for Priest. Well, I'll start. First of all,
why can't we do like 3?
Well, with Priest, there's really one, Drew McIntyre, and then Priest is dropping the title. So there's really no point in naming 5 opponents for Priest because he's probably dropping that title by Clash at the Castle. As far as Cody goes, we got Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, maybe CM Punk,
LA Knight,
Rock. Obviously.
Yeah,
The Rock at some point. Yeah,
that's like 6 or 7 right there.
I convinced myself. Now I want the Cena thing. Now that I said that, now I actually want it.
Yeah, Cena too.
Yeah.
And you got to throw it out there. Solo at this point until the other guys come back could always be a possibility.
No, Solo would be a great challenger if the end game of that match is going to be the return of Roman Reigns and just have that evolve from there.
He'd be on the back end of it, but it would literally be a filler opportunity. Yeah.
Yep.
And we got one more super chat here from This Guy Experience. He says, calling my spot, my first time on a prediction video. Well, if you want to be on the AEW Double or Nothing predictions video, there is an open spot Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. This Guy Experience. So maybe we can make that happen. And that's it. I think we're caught up. Virtue.
Okay.
Great discussion tonight.
All right, 1 hour. Go ahead and do your final plug, Jeff.
All right, got a lot coming up this week across the multiverse of media. We've got Beaches Musings tomorrow, Tapboy Sports Bar Tuesday, the Greg Cherry Show Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. We're actually going to be running retro watch-alongs for 25 years since, unfortunately, Over the Edge and Raw is Owen. That'll be more of a tribute than anything else, but we are going to be going over the entirety of both broadcasts, the original run broadcast, not the network edits. Simply predicting for King and Queen of the Ring and Double or Nothing from Noah Foster, and of course open mic night this coming Saturday night. That's everything across the multiverse as far as I'm aware of it. If something else pops up, you know where to find me on social media.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, Big G.
Yeah.
We're rolling.
And if you want to throw that up for me, you can follow me at Big Baller G 1988 on TikTok, NoDQ _Big Baller G on Twitter, and Insta NoDQ _Big Baller G 1988. That is it for me.
And thank you, G off. Because I just said thank you, Jeff. All right, Walter.
All right, so for me on Twitter, you can follow me at Walter Alex Cruz. Instagram, Cal Fire Farm, and Rage of Wrestling. The next personal watch along for me is UFC 303, which is June 1st. And that's it for me. And thanks as always for having me over.
Thank you, as always. All right, Aaron.
Yeah, so Tuesday night, we have the predictions for King and Queen of the Ring. We have a full panel for anybody wondering that has been asking about being on. But this guy, if you contact me about Double or Nothing, I could see about getting you on for that. That will be Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then I guess the No DQ review will be back on Tuesday after Memorial Day. So because we got King and Queen of the Ring on Saturday, and then Sunday we have Double or Nothing. So the Tuesday after that, we'll be back with the next No DQ review. And hopefully we have some good buzz coming out of those shows, and we'll have some strong topics for you guys on the next No DQ review. And that's it.
Nice.
Thank you all for supporting No DQ, and stay tuned for more.
Follow me on x.com if you dare, at NoDQ_virtue. Go to NoDQ.com/merch and check out all the shirts, including this Your Mark t-shirt with the No DQ logo and Virtue on the back. That is it for Jeff Meacham, for Big Baller G, for the reliable one, Walter Cruz, Aaron Rift, Mr. Tito, Colin Andrew, the whole No DQ crew and galaxy. We will see you again, I believe, on a Tuesday. Stay tuned, everybody. Until then, good night.
It's Mr.